You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hey, Rifters, welcome to another season of Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and the Nightwing to my Batman, Victor Pacheco. But back to Keith Reza. Anyways.
What the actual autistic fuck, Keith?
Anyways, that's the new Reza Riffs sound logo, folks. Since we're no longer in studio at LA Talk Radio, I had to update the song. Victor, how are you?
That was the shittiest song, Keith.
That was a great song. What are you talking about? I wrote it and I sung it like an opera man.
Dude, well, you should have sang it. You should have sang it like a soprano. I'm just messing with you. I don't know anything about.
No, do the Sopranos. Sing because I've never seen an episode of the Sopranos.
Well, the Sopranos never sang the Sopranos. That was just their last name. But I've never met an Italian with a last name Soprano, so who knows, you know, or anybody by that last name.
So the Sopranos didn't have like a theme song, like Sopranos here gonna.
No, dude, it was like woke up this morning, got yourself a gun. I know the rest of the song, but it's just I don't know what he's saying, but like something about getting a gun.
Oh,
and that whole show's about.
That's a very great message to show the folks at home. Let's get a gun. I don't know.
Keith, that's got to be your new intro song. Get a gun. Pet yourself.
And listen to Reza Riffs before you do something stupid.
Or while you're doing something stupid.
Yeah. This intro is either going to get us both canceled or it's genius.
That's like when somebody has a really shitty set and they're like, wow, that was some really great poetry you just did up there. I'm just holy shit. That is fucking funny, but also very disrespectful to poets because, dude, people are like, it's hard for comics. Dude, poets go up there without any punchlines, knowing they don't have any punchlines. I think that's harder.
I once did an open mic at a poetry thing, right?
We all have, yes.
and like they take their poetry so serious because everyone in the crowd like snaps, you know, and they think they come up with like genius stuff. And then I'm like, all right, it's my turn. And they're like, all right, please welcome your next poet, Keith Reza. And I just go up to him and be like, so yesterday I told jokes at a funeral.
Oh my God.
And the guy died. And he hired me to tell jokes at his funeral. Yeah, just like that. Everyone's like not snapping. I was like, dude, this is way better than that guy's shit.
Dude, that is so funny. You're lucky that guy didn't try to whoop your ass afterwards, dude. That poet just tried to.
Well, he was the guy who hired me at the funeral.
Oh. Great twist.
All right, Reza Riffs fans, we got some dates. At the end of July, I will be at the Laugh Factory in Las Vegas with Paul Rodriguez. The date is July 20th through the 23rd.
Be there.
And be there, be square.
Or be square. Or be square.
That's all I got so far. And then also, don't forget to join the Cameo sensation, guys. We need your help. You book Christy Swanson on the Cameo and tell her to do Reza Riffs. If we get like 20 cameos, she has to do it. And guys, our guest of the show tonight is here. He's a writer for Last Man Standing. He's a writer for that 90s show. Are you ready to meet him, Victor Pacheco?
Absolutely.
We are ready to meet the great King Hassan, guys. I'm letting him in the Zoom. Oh, man, this is going to be fun. I got a great story to tell you about King, Victor.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear it.
Oh hey,
God.
King.
Oh.
How are you?
I was scared of this story. I can tell you that much.
Oh, hey, buddy, how are you? We just
I
gave
did.
you a sweet ass intro. I can't wait for you to hear it when it comes out.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, dude, this is the best podcast I got forced to do.
No, believe me, I am here on my own recognizance. I'm
Oh,
very happy to be doing this podcast with you guys.
oh, thank you.
Uh,
Well, King, this is the trusty sidekick, Victor Pacheco.
Hey, how you
And
doing,
hey,
man?
Victor.
Good to meet you, King. How you doing?
Good.
I was
so,
Facebook stalking you, and I saw you were at the San Jose Improv, and it was like, cool. This guy's
Oh
cool.
yeah.
I like that picture. Except I'm always scared up there that I'm gonna fall. Or I'm gonna break the balcony.
I love San Jose is my favorite. It was one of my favorite clubs.
People are
he
scared to
he
perform there,
used to
though.
work at the San Jose before he was a
Yeah,
comedian. He was
yeah,
a bartender or whatever, right?
yeah. I was working security there. I was the second person they hired there in 2002 when they opened the place,
Oh yeah,
and I just made my way up to server, and then I mean, I was only on stage like twice, like the 6 years I worked there.
yeah. Didn't you
Yeah.
tell me? Didn't you tell me that you first went on stage because like Tommy Davidson or someone was showing up late
No,
and they called
Mark
you?
Mark Curry. So Mark
Mark
Curry's
Curry,
from the
right,
Bay.
right.
Yeah. So he would always like fly up to Oakland. He should just fly into San Jose, but he has people in Oakland. So he would fly up to Oakland and then drive the 50 minutes from Oakland to San Jose to do a spot. But I guess he just ran into traffic. And we were my manager, GM comes and is like, hey, the opener's out of material, the middle's out of material. Does anyone in the staff want to go up there and do comedy? And I was a sold out show. And I was like,
Holy
no.
Lord, that's a
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, no, absolutely not. And the bus boy was like, yeah, I'll do it. And he goes up there and he bombs. He like bombs so hard. And I was just like, oh, I can
King.
do
Don't tell
that.
people that I bombed. Come on.
But when I saw him go up there and just be who he wanted to be on stage, I was like, oh, I thought you wanted me to go up there and entertain them with like stuff that I had like cut over like years and years of practice. I can go up there and like say words. And so
Yeah,
that was my first time ever getting on stage. And I also bombed, just in
yeah.
case people were wondering. But
And then so did Mark Curry, but only because he was hanging out
no.
with Mr. Cooper. Hello.
Ha ha ha. But
So King, my fascinating story about you, which I think Victor is gonna love. So you and I did Oxnard with Pablo Francisco,
Yep.
and we're selling merch. You're selling your sweet ass shirts, and I'm selling my sweet ass thank you cards. Which I thought was a genius idea. But anyways, so
Did you
this
say
guy
thank you
who,
cards? Thank you
yeah,
card. You're
because
selling thank you cards. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure
It's
I'm
a
understanding this. Okay, I'm
honestly,
loving it.
it's
Loving
brilliant.
it.
It's
Loving it.
brilliant.
yeah,
Okay, sorry. Keep
I'll
going.
explain the thank you cards after the story, but you have to hear the story. So, uh, one of the rifters, we call our listeners the rifters.
Okay.
He came to the show, and he's like talking to me like he's like, "Oh my God, you're Keith Reza." I was like, "Oh, I know." He's like, "I'm a huge fan." I was like, "Oh, thanks, man." And he's like, "I love your podcast." I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna have King Hassan on right in front of me." Like I forced the podcast on King. So he couldn't say no. I couldn't pitch it to him. I was just like, he's gonna do it.
And look, here I am. Look at that.
Hey!
Full circle. Look at you manifesting things. I love it.
Yeah. But has anyone ever like forced something on you where you're like, where you have no say? You're like, if I say
Yeah.
no, I'm a dick. But if I say yes, I have no standards.
I can't tell you how many relationships I've been in based on that sole premise. So yes, in a nutshell, yes.
Oh, well, I'm really glad you're doing it because it's good to see you smile, buddy. So thank you
Yeah,
so much.
I mean, like I've been picketing for the past week, and so just to not be in that space has been good.
Now, I don't want to talk about the writer strike because I know it's very emotional for you, but when you picket, do you have like a pitchfork and a flame thing, or like how are you? Like, what are you doing?
It's week one, At week 20, yeah, probably.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Because that's when I want to pick it with you. I want to forklift and be like,
Yeah. Hopefully, there's not too many more weeks of this, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, man. All right. So Victor, the point of the thank you cards was I ran out merch. So I went to the Dollar Tree and I bought a whole pack of thank you cards. On each thank you card, I wrote like a little joke on it. Like
it's brilliant, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Keith, have you ever sold drugs before?
I didn't know it was drugs, but yeah.
That's not drugs, Keith. Like if a cop would have pulled you over with your thank you cards, you wouldn't have gone to jail for it or had to have gone.
No, I just thought it was sugar I bought from Ralph's. I don't know.
Good. Yeah.
See, I'm such a bad drug dealer. I would go to Ralph's, buy a whole bunch of like powdered sugar, put in little packets, and be like, "All right, I want $100 for this."
Okay, you get arrested for that, man, because you're actually selling fake drugs at that point. You're a fake drug dealer. Yeah, dude. As long as it doesn't have any of that.
I think that's also a felony.
Yeah, that's also a felony. Definitely. All of the above. Don't do any of that shit. Or at least don't talk about it on a fucking podcast.
I was trying to make a downer upside down. Sorry, guys.
He's trying to make uppers. There you have it.
Exactly.
Back to drugs.
Now, King, so I wanted to ask you, is this true before you joined the comedy world and the writing world?
Oh boy, hold on. Because I think I know what you're gonna say, and I'm not quite sure I want people to know that part yet.
Oh, okay. Well, all right.
Wait, hold up a second. Jesus.
No, we got.
There's no edits on this either. There's no edits. No, but you see how he caught that? He just caught that. Yeah. No, dude, no, you're not doing that. You're not doing that, dude.
We're not
I'm a detective. I'm a detective.
Yeah. I was gonna say you're royalty.
Yeah. That honestly, my name has been the hardest. Obviously, and I talk about this on stage because I was a very overweight kid, and I'm gonna burn this joke here on the podcast. But kids used to call me Burger King. That was like I grew up my entire like adolescence with that, and so I ended up going by my middle name for most of my life,
which is Burger.
No, yeah, exactly.
King, don't be such a dick. Don't be a dick. King's pouring his heart out here. I'm trying not to make any fat jokes. Yeah. And you're over here being a dick to King about his.
I wasn't being a dick. I was just saying.
Oh my God! Why did you go with? I thought you were Middle Eastern. At any rate, I don't know. That's where I was going with that. I was just like, dude. I was like, cool, hell yeah, man. Fucking. I'd love to do the podcast also because I'd love to ask a lot of questions about writing and like, you're charming as fuck and that's awesome. So
thanks, man.
Yeah, man. And so I don't know. It was just like, I have 4 questions. So I'm going to let's just say I get my mic cut off. I want to ask the most important one first.
Okay.
How do more Black and brown writers break through in what has been a predominantly white industry, like writing?
Like how do we do it? I think that. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you answer and then I'll answer for as.
I think that I because the opportunities are slowly starting to come in a little more, and I think it really is just being prepared and banding together and not being competitive with each other. And so the old adage, and it's like this with stage time too, like people try to hoard stage time, they try to hoard opportunities and like to keep it from themselves, and they think that I can't write your story, I can't tell your jokes better than you. So if somebody is asking or giving you an opportunity, that opportunity is just meant for you. Like that opportunity is for you, and you don't need to feel like you're in competition. Because I remember when I first got into this industry, there was like this competitive spirit that like I felt was a little unnecessary. Right. And so I think let me just tell you my story, like how I got into the industry. So I feel like everyone gets into the industry a little more unconventional than the last. But in 2019, I wrote 12 original pilots. and I wrote 2 spec scripts.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
And yeah.
That's amazing.
That's a lot of writing.
Right, but and that's like when I did get my opportunity, it was as easy for me to get an opportunity and do nothing with it. But I think it's because I was so prepared to like for my opportunity that when I got it, like it was like this is who this person is. And like
Right.
we can't take it away from him because like he's like if he didn't like like I'm in the room with people who went to Princeton and Yale and with the people who like did who were writers assistants for 10 years, like you know what I mean. And here I am, like in 2019 I decided I want to be a writer, and then in 2020 I was a writer.
Yeah,
So
you
like
jump through all the bullshit positions.
exactly. And
Yeah.
so there's so much of feeling like I didn't earn my spot,
But you were in that fucking spot.
Exactly.
You can't fake that. You can't
Exactly.
fake it. Unless you had chat GPT like before it came out, and you're just a maverick amongst mavericks. You're using a computer.
Right.
I'm just kidding. Obviously, it's like 20 pilots
Yeah.
in 1 year. Some people don't even do that in their whole
12.
lifetime.
Yeah.
Or 12 to me.
Yeah,
I
12.
mean,
Yeah.
that's
Don't make him sound too impressive, Victor.
Okay, dude, that's a
fuck.
pilot a month, and like,
Yeah.
and I don't know how that breaks down, because that could be like, how does that break down? Was it like one pilot a month, or was it like you did 2 in 1 month, you took a month off, you did 2, you took a month off,
Yeah,
or like,
so
or does it just come to you naturally, or I don't mean to like step all over the question.
So like in January I wrote a pilot, and like I felt really good about it. And then in February and I remember like towards the end of January thinking like, this is my masterpiece. This is gonna be what breaks me into the industry, and I'll never have an idea better than this.
Yeah.
And then and I finished it like around January 26th, and then January 27th was like, oh, you know what'd be a good idea? And then I started writing that, and then like mid-February I finished that one, and then I was like, you know what would be a good idea? And by March I was like,
awesome.
by the end of March I was like, oh, it's March and I have 3 scripts. Let's keep this going. And so then it became like a discipline. And my son was born in July, so I took like kind of like the end of July off, and then I got right back into it in August. And so
are these all like different genres, or is it all comedy? Was the first one comedy? I didn't want to interrupt your story because it was such a good.
Yeah.
You're such a like, I don't know. It's just very very vivid and with your answer. I'm like, wait, don't jump in yet. We're playing double dutch, and I'm trying to jump in at the right spot. So it's just like, was your first script a comedy script? And was it television, or was it a film, or what?
Yeah. So
was it?
I think that what I knew about this industry going in was that they're really into branding.
Right.
And so as a stand-up comic, it almost made sense to only do comedies. And so like, if I like I have like a lot of serious things that I would love to write. And I think that at the end of the day, my career might lean more serious. But until I get like a special, like a comedic, because nobody wants to see, this writer, this coming up the stage, he wrote for sexual assaults unit. Like nobody wants to hear that. So as long as I
want to hear that.
As long as I'm going on stage and using my writing credits, I think it's like important for me to stay like comedically writing, just so like to keep everybody on the same note.
So the question I had for you is because I'm not a good writer like you, but I've written a couple scripts, but I haven't written 12, and I've been doing it for 14 years. I've only written like 3, so I really am very impressed by that. So when you
pronounce both T's in written.
Yeah.
Is
that how you're supposed to do it?
If you knew Keith's real name, you'd be like, that is the whitest man I've ever known.
Well, no, we can't talk about the real name on.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, what have to do?
It's kind of like how King can't talk about his thing. I can't talk about my. I got people looking out. That's not the point. The point is this.
How am I the only one here with the real name?
Yeah.
I'm the only one here with the biggest name. I stand out in the crowd. It's like Mexican.
Stop making fun of Burger. God, jeez.
Dude, don't call him Burger, asshole. You didn't grow up with him. You don't know him as fat. You know him as
very ashamed of that.
Honest,
Come on.
Get the fuck out of here, dude. I'm just standing for King alone.
So okay. King, my question is this, because like when I write, I mean, I get multiple ideas too, but like I feel like I'm not disciplined to write them all. I feel like I have to finish an idea. So like with you, when you were writing, did you think, okay, this idea is perfect? Because I'm always like, this idea could get better, and I rewrite it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they say that writing is rewriting. And so for me personally, it's easy for me to write because the characters that I create are real people. Right. Like, and so I pretty much just I put my real people, the coworkers that I have or friends that I make, and I put them in a funny situation, where, they find out that they're brothers or, like some random thing. And it really is, okay, what would this person actually say and do in this situation? And these characters just live in my head. And sometimes like there's no scene there. Yeah. There's no scene there. And I'll just wait for them to do whatever they need to do in that scene. And when they've done it, then I'm pretty much just transcribing what these characters are doing. And if I don't get it on paper, these people live in my head in these situations, in these fake world, like in the rules that I've given them to play out. So it's like I have to put it down on paper to get them out of my head. And as soon as I get them out, then I can move on to the next idea. But like they consume me until I get it down on paper.
Yeah. Hey, King, I don't mean to break your heart, but it sounds to me you have Asperger's as well.
At some point, don't we all? Kind of.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking, don't be a dick, dude. Come on.
Thinking I'm exactly like that.
Hold on. How long have we been on? 10 minutes? Because Keith diagnosed me within the first 2 minutes of meeting him in the green room at the San Jose Improv, where me and Keith have been dear friends since. But like it was the funniest fucking thing I've never seen. Keith was like one of the most direct, blunt people I've ever met in my life, and I'm like, are you doing a character right now? He's really not. He's really not. He's really just no.
That's why we call it a spectrum. Like we're all on it.
King, has anyone ever going to the stand-up, has anyone ever come up to you after a show and been like, you're not funny? And then like, how do you, because like someone did that to me after a show at Irvine this weekend. He's like, hey man, you're not funny. And I was just so polite. I was like, oh, thank you. He's like, yeah, you got to be funny. And I was like, yeah, thank you. He's like, yeah, to be a comedian, you have to be funny. I was like, why, thank you. Like, that's how I was doing it. And the guy just wasn't getting it, that I was just like literally repeating everything he was saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I find that funny.
So I'm 6'3", 225 pounds. And so people try not to insult me to my face.
Right.
But
thank you.
Do you remember someone insulted me with you?
To your face. Hey, I know.
Wait, hold on, Victor. No. Okay. This actually happened with King. Someone insulted me in front of King. Like,
I don't think it was like an insult. And I
don't even remember what he said, but I was like, either. You gave me the look like it happened in front of me too. I was like, wait, what happened?
Oh, dude. So King was just G-checking you without even saying a word. That's cool. I like that. No. Like I saw that too. No. It was that look. Like I was there, dude. Is this really? It happened. I was there. What?
No, because we had like a long conversation because he said something that if you squinted at it, it was a little inappropriate, but I don't know if that was his intent behind saying it. You know what I mean? It was like one of those lost in translation things, and he was intoxicated. So like,
Keith, what did he say to King? What did he say about King?
I swear to God, I honestly don't remember. But
and what did he say about Pablo? Like Jesus Christ, you know
I remember the story because King gave me a wink on the Zoom. Like when I was telling my old story, King's like.
I think so. This is what happened. So when I first started doing comedy, my comedy was all charisma. Like my jokes weren't really strong, and I knew going into doing stand-up that I was likable to strangers. People rooted for me without knowing. You know, I have clumsy fat boy energy. Like you know what I mean? People are always like rooting for me. Like I've always been able to tap into that like as a kid.
Right.
And so I was at the ice house. This was like 5, 6 years ago. I was at the ice house, and it was exactly 4 years ago. And my son was about to be born, and I was walking on stage, and I had a panic attack. I was having a panic attack, and I had only had two before in my entire life. And my hand started to shake as the host was bringing me on the stage.
Mm.
And I remember thinking in that moment, I was like, if I can land my first joke, I can pull myself out of this. Like, you know, like it's coming and like I'm like trying to breathe through it, but I just need them to laugh. And I know that will be my lifesaver and I can pull myself out of this. And
Right.
Of course, if all my jokes are like charisma based, then and I don't have it in that moment, my joke didn't land and I just sank. I did my 15-minute set in about 2 minutes. The host had left the room, like, you know, and then I'm just standing there in front of the crowd. And like somebody runs out to go get the host, like, I think he's finished. And he comes on stage and he like takes the mic from me, and I like I've sweated through my entire shirt. Like
Right.
you could wring out my shirt. And I go sit in my car and I just sob. Like ugly, like I was ugly crying. Like I could not get through it. And by this point, I had made like I was a comedian. I was in LA to be a comedian. Like I said bye to my family. Hey, losers! Like I was like I'm gonna make it in Hollywood. And so like after like I like drove home, and when I got home, I was just like that can never happen to me again, ever,
Right.
ever. And so I rewrote my entire set. I rewrote my entire set in the voice of Anthony Jeselnik, and it was as dry. It was the like as dry delivery because I was like I'm a comedy writer. Like I can write jokes. Like
Right.
I don't need to like rely on my charisma. Like I just want no matter how the joke is delivered, I want the joke to be funny.
Right.
And so like I changed my cadence. I changed everything like about my delivery. And it was like no matter if I'm in a good mood or bad mood, no matter what's going on at home or going on with family or whatever like that, like the joke is funny. It's just undeniable. I don't have to rely on timing, and it like changed everything for me. And so just recently, like I've probably been using that style for 4 years now. And just recently I've started to like come out of that cadence, like, you know, and start infusing it like with who I am as a person.
Yeah.
And I've just like the growth of comedy for me has been like a journey that I've fallen in love with. And so I've bombed, everyone's had that set. And when people come up to me, like I love bombing because it gives me a way to like kind of tweak now.
Yeah.
It's Dave Chappelle bombs. Like, why shouldn't I? Like, you know what I mean? Like people go on stage. Like, who am I to
You know
go up
what,
and have
though?
a perfect set every time?
Do you ever get off on bombing? Because sometimes I actually really enjoy it. Like
I've seen it. It's
It
really.
takes a while. It
Oh
takes a
my
while.
god. Oh.
If I bomb towards the end, no, I do not love it. But if I bomb in the beginning and I'm trying to get people back, and then I realize I still have 15 minutes and I'm not going to get them back, then I'll start to like it.
Well, try doing it for an hour, pal. I mean, it's the funniest thing to me.
Oh my god!
I was just talking to Keith about this on the phone earlier today. I didn't know this was gonna fucking come up, but I literally saw Keith's like, "Hey, you want to do this show?" And I'm like, "Sure." It's like in a month, right? He's like, "Yeah." Then it got rescheduled last minute. It's like, "Hey, it's this Friday," and I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Are you available?" I'm like, "I am actually." And then so we did this show, and it was fucking the hardest fucking sell. No one was there for comedy, and I was supposed to do 15 minutes. I told Keith, give me a 5 minute light. So I knew I was at 10. And I was like, okay, I don't give a fuck. I'm getting off stage. Like I got off like at like 11:30, 11:38, something like that. Keith goes on stage, and like I go outside and make a phone call, call my wife, and Keith, I could see him through the glass. He's smiling and it looks like he's killing it. I was like, oh, Keith is killing it right here. And I walked back in after like a 20-minute phone call. Keith still had a big old smile on his face, and he was not killing it. And he was just hate fucking the crowd, and he was fucking pissed at me. He's like, "You didn't even do your fucking time, man." And I was like, "I'm sorry, dude. Fuck this crowd, dude. Seriously, we're getting paid in fucking food. Like, I'm a fat fuck. I didn't get seconds. Like, I'm just kidding. But I wasn't pissed off about that because the food was hella good, so I wasn't really tripping. So Keith was right. I did do my time. I did fuck up, but it was fucking hysterical because like Keith legitimately hate fucked this crowd for 50 minutes.
Oh my god, yeah.
It was like, and he was only supposed to do 30. That's the part that was just like, Keith, you told me to light you at 25, and I just lit you at 25. I lit you at 35. I lit you at 45, and I'm like, get the fuck off stage.
The lights run out of batteries.
Oh my god.
No, I was just like, I think my goal in that show, because I don't really remember it, but I think my goal was to get everyone to leave before I left.
And they
didn't. You're trying to walk the room?
They did not. Yeah. Nobody left. Everybody was just, and it was who was up before, I forgot who was up before us, but they were saying the most deplorable things, and there was kids there in the crowd.
Oh yeah.
And it was just like, I was just like, dude, like, don't talk about oral where you're making a chick vomit, bro. That's like not okay. This is when people are eating. I'm a fat guy. So when you said that, you grew up as a fat guy and King, and you're, using the Burger King, I'm like, fuck, man, that's fucking hysterical. So King would be his middle name, then, asshole. Would be a Christian name, you piece of shit. Don't talk. I'm just kidding.
Hey, Victor, ask King question number 5 because I think that's a great question.
Ooh.
Yeah. I was going to ask you this one, but then he sent me his questions. I had to like erase it. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, okay, Jesus. Was this about the comedy and right?
Dude, don't root like you got. Do you want me to do it for you?
Yeah, you can do it for me, Keith. Do it for me. Okay. You already fucking sucked up the momentum of that fucking built up. No, I'm just kidding.
King, this is a question Victor and I like. I'm gonna give it to Victor because he wrote it first, but I was thinking it.
Okay, this is a two-parter question.
Okay, I'll ask the first part. Victor will ask the second part.
Keith, I wasn't sure which one you were talking about because
okay, so you're ready. Okay, excellent.
It's fucking live. Okay, yes, I'm ready to go. Okay,
he's curious now. He's over the question. Go. Just ask him.
Will you be
and that's our time.
We all went a different direction.
You can't leave a bit. You can't leave a bit hanging.
Yeah. No, this is seriously a great question.
This is okay. The two-parter question. How does being a writer affect your comedy, and how does being a comedian affect your writing?
I don't. Honestly, it's just confidence. Like that's kind of like where it plays in, because what people don't realize, what I'm sure you guys do, is that stand-up is its own thing. People are like, "Oh, you're so funny, you should do comedy." That's not how stand-up works. Like being funny.
Being funny with your friends.
Exactly. You being funny with your friends does not make you. That has nothing to do with your ability to be a good stand-up. And so, for me, it really is a discipline. Like stand-up comedy is a discipline, writing is a discipline, and knowing that I am good in one helps me it gives me the momentum to be good in the other. Right. And so that's like the confidence of it. It's like I know I'm a good stand-up now. And so like when I'm trying to apply for comedy writing gigs, and they see my tape and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's funny." Like we don't know if he's like quick or witty or how good his structure is, but we know that he knows where jokes are.
Right.
So like I feel confident in that, and then going on stage, hey, coming on stage, this guy's a writer for this show, and everyone's like, "Oh," it's just confident based. But I believe that they're two very separate entities. And so
when people introduce you like that as a writer, because it is a legit credit and it's a real credit, but does it throw you off Absolutely. As a stand-up?
The first time, so my credits are Last Man Standing with Tim Allen,
which we gotta talk about.
Yeah, Pivoting Pivoting, which was three woman lead. So funny. It definitely deserved more seasons. And then the one I currently write for now, or pending strike, is that '90s show on Netflix. So those are so when the crowd that I've always done comedy for has never been the first two shows. So they'd be like, coming to the stage, Last Man Standing. People like, Last Man Standing? Oh, I'm thinking of Last Man on Earth. Like, so like there was like a little bit of that, you know?
Right.
But I remember like, but you know, like the Last Man Standing crowd, they're a little older. Like, you know, like Tim Allen's, like our generation isn't currently watching Tim Allen. Like he caters to like more people. Right, exactly. Yeah. And so
Taylor, yeah, dude.
Right. And so that's where our generation kind of knows Tim Allen from. But like for the people who were watching that show, they were a little older and I really wasn't performing for them. So I got no heat from that. Right. But the first time I got brought on the stage for that '90s show, I could feel the energy from the crowd. I was like, oh no, I gotta make, this is not the time to bomb.
This is not the time to pull Keith Reza.
Jesus Christ. You gotta be funny up there. Or what, what did your naysayer say, Keith? You got to be funny up there. You got to be funny. What the fuck was it? Jesus, that's the fucking worst. No, because sometimes people come up to you and just like, hey, my mom died this week and I've been thinking about killing myself all week and you really got me out of that jam. I didn't think about killing myself for how long were you on stage? 5 minutes? I was like, I was on stage for 20, but thanks for saying 5. That's fucking wow. Dude, that feels fucking great. So I don't know. It's just like the whole opposite. So I don't know, because I felt very fucking, I was at my lowest because my brother was in the ICU and I hadn't done comedy for like 12 days. And for me, that's a long, this is pre-pandemic days, by the way.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll meet a comic. I'm like, how long you been doing comedy? They're like, oh, 2.5 years. I'm like, oh, so you're pandemic pussy.
Yeah.
And like,
those are fighting words.
Oh, no, dude. Again, I'm 6'2", but I don't look like I'm 6'2" because I'm 6'2" by 6'2". So it's just like people don't believe it. They're like, "You're not 6'2", and I stand right next to them. Like, holy fuck, you're a fucking big. No, that's why people don't believe I'm Mexican. They think I'm Hawaiian or Samoan.
Oh, because you're so tall.
Yeah, tall and broad shoulders. Like, hey, bro, I don't look like one of these Mexicans, man. You know? I could go out there, man. Like, you know, I do these shit, man. You know, I don't do that shit though. I mean, unless I'm making fun of my cocaine dealer. But
so King, so back to Last Man Standing, because I actually this is a question I had. I'm sure you get questions a lot about Tim Allen and Jay Leno, but I was wondering, what was it like writing for Jonathan Adams? Because I felt he was the funniest one on that show because he was so sidekicky and not a lot of people know who he is.
I think that he is probably one of the most talented people I've ever written for.
Yeah.
Like he is, I mean, like most of the people I've written for are comedians and comics, and so it's easy to write in their voice because they have such a long history of knowing exactly how that voice makes someone what the audience is expecting from that voice.
Yeah,
but when but when you write for Jonathan Majors. Not Jonathan Majors, sorry. Adams. Let's not talk about Jonathan Majors.
Yeah. We're talking about Jonathan Adams.
Yeah. When you talk about Jonathan Adams, like he has the task of making our words funny. Like, you know, because it's reversed. Because with Tim Allen, you know his delivery and you can write to that. And so we're making him funny. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're saying things in a way that we know it's going to work. But with Jonathan, we're saying it and we hope it works. And he has to do the work because he has his voice isn't like, people don't know him.
Exactly. That was the point of the question, because people don't really know who he is.
Yeah.
And writing for him, because I'm actually being very serious. I thought he was the best thing on that show. And I interviewed him and I was just like, dude, this guy has so much charisma and comic timing. And amazing. He's so talented. And I was just like, wow. You know what I mean?
The last season of Last Man Standing, I can't remember what episode, but there's an episode where he does a Shakespearean monologue. and it's real jokey, and then the lights go out and he just goes into it, and it's so special. Like it is like it's such a special moment. Like he's so talented. Like like big fan of him.
But yeah, and so like I agree with you because like here's the thing, like with me, where like when I wrote for Norm and stuff, and not to pat myself on the back, I probably was the worst writer on the show. Like, and I've told Victor this, but I was the best writer writing for Norm because I
Exactly. Yeah.
toured with Norm. I knew he liked certain bad jokes, and I knew he that's what he wanted. So that's why I survived. But like actually writing, I was terrible. I was like,
dude, I got it. You inspired me. I don't know if you saw me like change demeanor. I'm like in fucking typing mode. I'm just like, I'm like, dude, what's the difference between your writing voice in the writer's room versus your comedic voice on stage?
Oof. See, so the writing voice in the room.
I'm not trying to grill you. I'm just trying to learn.
No. These are great questions. Like,
have you ever been asked these great questions on a podcast?
No, I haven't. This is
so I'm glad I forced you to do this.
Wait, we're talking to my boy King or me? I'm just kidding. Yeah. No. Because I looked you up. I was just like, yeah, I know this dude. I don't know this dude, but I know this dude. I know this dude. You're just a cuddly teddy. I would have never believed the fat thing unless you said it. I would have never
huge. Big old titties.
Yeah, me too, bro. We should have partied.
Just I put deodorant under.
No, antiperspirant. Antiperspirant. These assholes come at you. There's metal and aluminum in that shit. I was like, I need aluminum for this shit. I need it.
Just like this is a PSA to everybody. Aluminum. Yes, exactly. Real deodorant does not cause Alzheimer's. It just doesn't. It's been debunked. No, it doesn't. It's like just use the real stuff.
Cancer.
Exactly.
Just straight to the point. Benito.
You like when egg whites aren't better for you than regular eggs. Like that's not how the body digests food. Just eat the whole egg. Don't pay more for less. Like okay.
You know a lot about that stuff though, don't you? Because I've
he used to be a fat guy, and he's handsome and charming as fuck. You can't fake that. You know what's a good question? What do you eat? What's a good breakfast? What's a good healthy?
No, Victor, because the thing I was saying
that's a good question.
No, it's a terrible question. I wanted to talk about like how did you like wake up and say, hey, I gotta go, like because like the whole egg white thing. Like I already assumed egg whites were healthier than eggs. So how did you like figure that out?
So I did. So there was a cheat code for me losing the weight. I grew 5 inches in the summer. Okay. And so all of a sudden I was like 5'6", 155 pounds. And then by the end of the summer, I was 6 feet, 155 pounds. And all of a sudden, like people started noticing me and they started caring about what I had to say. And then I was like, oh, like people are fat phobic, or like they just don't like they just don't like people who are overweight.
They don't.
And so and it sucked, but like I was like, okay, I'm not there now. So now all of a sudden, like I started to like really care about like what I put into my body, because it was like I can never go back to like they almost broke me. I'm telling you right now. And so like I was like, I'm never going back. And so like being physically fit became like a lifestyle for me. And and honestly, being physically fit was one thing. And it wasn't until I was 25 where I realized there was a difference between being physically fit and being like healthy.
Yeah.
Because I knew all about what workouts and how like calories and like in all that other stuff, but like the stuff that I was like eating and the way that I was treating my body and like the sleep that I was getting, like all of that stuff. And so like I've been on like a lifelong journey of just being the best version of myself, because this is all I got. So,
yeah. And see, people don't realize that, because there is a difference between being physically fit and then being healthy. You could be You could be huge but still be healthy, because the body, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm a pretty chubby dude, but I like to consider myself very healthy, because I don't eat sugar. I eat a lot of fast food, but I eat healthy fast food. Like, you know, I mean, it's not healthy, but
healthy
it's
fast food, Keith.
Yeah,
that is
but,
a paradoxical statement. If I
no,
do
but like
say so myself.
if I go to McDonald's, I would get a McChicken sandwich wrapped. You know what I
The
mean?
only problem is what's worse than sugar is processed oils.
Yeah, I say I don't want
Holy
processed
shit.
oils. I forgot to mention
Right.
that.
What's your
But
feelings on
their
avocado
chicken,
oil?
yeah,
No,
but
I was
the
making a bad
McChicken is
joke.
all, yeah, it's all deep fried. It's all like the oils take years to get out of your system, like years, if ever. Like the oils, like the palm oils and the sunflower seed oils and the canola. Canola is not a real thing. There's no
Right.
such thing as a canola. But the canola oil, like it's yeah.
That's why I have them cook it in coconut oil. I forgot to tell you that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you asked for the coconut oil cooked deep fried at McDonald's.
yeah.
Yeah, I get the secret menu.
Yeah.
Wait, where the hell was that at?
It's in your
I was giving him the
imagination.
wink.
Yeah, they don't have special fucking coconut oil for Keith's ass.
No, the point is
that was bullshit. Hold on.
the point is I feel like I'm healthy because I make healthier choices than
Keith,
normal.
you feel healthy because you have fat fuck friends like me that are way fatter than you that make you feel like way skinny in comparison. That was what makes you feel like you're superior. So, but
No, not at all. I didn't mean.
No.
I apologize. You took it that way. That's not
Keith, I apologize for busting your balls and you taking it for value. I apologize. No, I'm over it. No, because I'm over
your question.
Yeah.
To answer your question, the best thing I can tell any like writer is to not have a writing voice. Each character pulls out their own voice, and you want to make each character so authentically them that people can't find you in the pages.
Yeah.
And so, and then like when I get to be on stage, that's when I get to slow things down and introduce myself. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the joke is about, people are buying me. And so I think those are the two differences, because you asked the difference between my writing voice and my stand-up voice.
Absolutely. No,
and so yeah.
That's a great answer, because it's like you can't get too caught up in one.
Right, exactly.
You know, so as a writer, because you're gonna have all these characters that you have to portray, and I'm just like, holy shit, this dude is fucking, this is gospel. I'm like, Keith, let me ask the two last questions I have. Like,
go ahead, because I have two more questions, and if you have two more, so yeah, King, give us the 4 questions. We want to respect your time.
All right, well, then we got to cut one of the questions to come up with 2 more, because rules of 3, so it's got to be a multiple of 3. So it's got to. I'm just kidding. Anyway,
or you can add 2 more, and then
yeah. That's what I was. That was my first alternative, rather than cutting one. But at any rate, this is a really important question I have as a amateur writer. When you look at a script, what is the most important thing that needs to be on page 1?
I would say you better know who the script is about and who that person is by page. Like if you're on page 2 and like your main character hasn't said a word, or you haven't given your main character an attitude or an archetype yet, then you really have nothing to hold on to.
Yeah.
And so
that's
the answer to that.
I actually 100% agree with that, because King, I don't know if I told you this, but I take screenwriting, and
oh my goodness,
at my school. Like,
stop bragging.
No, but dude, there's a point to this brag.
Okay, so sorry, I'll shut up.
So my screenwriting teacher, he kind of lets me assistant teach, because I've taken it forever, and I'm the best writer there. You know what I mean? So so how we teach is like we read these scripts and we format and stuff, and then so this one lady, I'll just say her name. Her name's Amy, very nice lady, and she wrote. She's like in class 2, so she only could submit 10 pages a week, and she wrote 10 pages of no dialogue, just story. And she was like, so what do you guys think? And I was like, well, I couldn't relate to any of your fucking characters.
Yeah, so
And I was
page
like,
one.
and story-wise, I was not hooked on page one of this fucking spaceship in outer Mars or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh man,
I agree. It has to, because I think if you start off strong, regardless how your script's going, it's still gonna go in that same tone. You know what I mean?
yeah, and honestly, like I kind of equate that to like stand up. I mean, we know that like our opening joke is so important,
Yeah.
and that if we don't put a lot of energy into that first joke and letting the audience know who we are and what they're in for, it's going to be a hard 15 to 20 to 50 minutes. So, yeah, like, and it, like me, I've been doing it so long, it feels intuitive, and like to have the question and realize that people don't necessarily automatically know that. Like, that is a great question.
Yeah.
That is a great question.
Yeah, it's a hidden question too that I don't feel a lot of writers would ask. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So,
100%. Like that's a great question.
so
I'm glad you made me
Victor,
think
you
about
have a
that.
gold star on a great question
Yeah.
from King.
Keith, shut the fuck up. He said that I was the greatest fucking question asker of all time without even saying it. He said it with his bravado. Okay, I'm just kidding. Keith is a very, very great friend of mine. I love busting his balls. We sometimes
Well, he said that, but then when I ask him this question, he's gonna fucking take that
Oh,
compliment away.
I'm not because I have to say this question and come up with another question so we can do the rules of three. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the last pre-written question I had,
For
and which is
Victor, and I have two questions. So
okay.
exciting.
So the best piece of advice that I've ever gotten from a professional writer, is that the number one thing that every single failed writer has in common is that they all have a bunch of great ideas and a bunch of scripts, but they never finish even one fucking script or one project. And so you need to finish your script, even if your third act is weak or it sucks. It could always be rewritten. You're gonna revise it. You're gonna do all this stuff. So what's the best? And so that really helped me out a lot. In addition to like reading some books, the writer's workbook by the lady. She was a writer on Everybody Loves Raymond, and that really like I was like, oh shit, it's all about dialogue and
Yeah.
like making these characters jump off the stage, jump off the page.
Page, yeah.
So, my question to you is, what's the best piece of advice you've gotten as a writer?
Oh, wow. Um,
That like maybe like changed the way you write and the way, or maybe you perceive characters, or maybe like anything like that just jumps at you like that. You're just like, if you want to make it in this business, this is what you have to do as a writer and stop, because like the best piece, another number two would be, hey, yeah, this is a great script. This is awesome. But what else are you working on? You just can't show up to a pitch meeting with just one fucking great idea. You have
right.
a bunch of great ideas. So that was the second piece of advice. I'll name the source on
The
that one. That was Keith Reza right here. He told me that one. He's
the
all like, oh, you think you're hot shit because you finished this thing? You think you're hot
yeah.
shit?
what?
Well, what else you got? What else? No, no,
Oh
Keith
no,
didn't say that.
definitely. Yeah, that's actually true. If you pitch
You did
something,
tell.
no, if you pitch something and they say, "Oh, that's good," they're always gonna ask, "What else you got?"
The best advice I think I've ever gotten was that I am not smarter than my audience. And that did two things for me. That taught me because for young writers, there's a lot of exposition. The audience won't get it. I have to say it. I have to expel it out. And as an audience member, we hate that. We cannot stand when somebody oh well, the reason why I'm doing this is because when we get talked down, it's almost like the writer is talking down to us when and like it loses its pacing. So I'm not smarter than the audience. So it does that for me. It makes me not be so expositional. And when my audience is giving me feedback and I have to defend the choices I made more than so if I give each of you guys the same script and you guys and Keith, like you give me a note you give me a note, and I'm just like, oh, well, the reason why I did it this way is because X, Y, Z, and I defend it. You're like, okay, well, I mean, I didn't see it that way, but like, like you seem real passionate about it. And then Victor, you read it and you give me the same note. It doesn't matter what I'm trying to accomplish. If my audience doesn't get it, then I'm doing it wrong. I'm just not as I'm not being as clear, or I'm not being as brilliant as I think I can, because it's like my audience isn't receiving it. So like, people write things to jack off to, like, you know what I mean? Like if you're making something for your audience, then let your audience tell you that that this is what they want. And so like those, your audience is not, you're not smarter than your audience. That was changed a lot of my writing style.
Too humble.
That's actually very good.
Too humble. Too humble. That's really good, because like, I don't know, sometimes like people are like, yeah, and I'm gonna change the way. It's like, you can't get your foot in the door, shut the fuck up.
Always defend. Anytime someone gives you a note, defend it publicly, but then go back and be like, okay, well, like they did have a problem with that. Like, and so
That's why I have the questions that I have. I'm like, all right, dude, all right, just, you have very limited time, make sure it's all worth it, because like the truth is, it's helping out not just me, but everyone that listens, because like really, like there's so much stuff that it's so interconnected with the whole entertainment business, and just so the fact that you're not a white guy that we're interviewing, to me. And I don't give a fuck how, like, I made you laugh, so I don't give a fuck about everyone. I'm just kidding. I give a fuck. I hope everyone else laughed too. But I mean, the truth is just like, breaking through in this industry at the level that you're breaking through at is just really amazing, and it's just really uplifting. It's like a great story. Like, the fact that you're not in front of, like on the cover page of like LA Times, like, making a difference, making waves in Hollywood. You know what I mean? It's just
it's like we just got to keep doing the work.
Former fat guy kills her. I'm just kidding. I'm a fat guy.
I'm never going back.
Yeah, no, good. No. That whole breakfast, and you answered it like, just don't.
That's actually great advice, though, because like I do know, like my screenwriting teacher wrote this one movie, and that's the only thing he's ever written, and it was called Just Friends with Ryan Reynolds. So like whenever he teaches, he's like, and then when I sold Just Friends, like he's bragging, you know what I mean?
Wait, like the story about the guy who used to be a fat ass, and then he lost hella weight and looked hella good, and he got the chick he couldn't get when he was a fat guy. That script?
Yes. So he'd say,
wait a second.
He said that.
Oh, wait, hold up a second. Hey,
Victor,
I think I should be getting paid for that.
Get to the question. I gotta respect King's time.
Sorry.
So he would say like, when I sold Just Friends, you have to take it to all these, pitches and stuff, and the first person to read it is always a guy named Mo, and he's like, because they're very, they're the ones who pass it to the producers and all that stuff, and they're morons. So you have to really write it to the point where they want to read. You know what I mean?
But he's not wrong. I get it. Yeah. Like 100%.
I take back my comment.
So that's why that's actually awesome. So I want to respect your time, but I do have two quick questions. Question number one. Because I truly feel someday you're going to have a show where you actually create it. Like, it's going to be your show. And I wanted to ask you, like, what's like, regardless of the strike or whatever, what is the thing that fears you about that? Like, what is your biggest fear to accomplish that?
Getting it too early.
Okay.
The worst thing that could ever happen to any one of us is that we break early. Yeah. Like, imagine if you would have, like, how long have you been doing comedy, Keith?
Well, pandemic, let's say 20, without pandemic, 18.
So let's say somebody saw like one of your bits like 2.5 years in, and then put you on. That would have been like literally the worst thing for your career.
In the pandemic stage, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. I mean, whatever. Like every day, like I remember, like, like, because I came down here to be an actor, And I thought like, oh, I'm gonna outwork everybody. And as soon as like 2 months in, I should have like a good movie role, like be a series regular. And it was just like every day that I didn't make it, like in this industry, I got that much better at my craft.
Right.
And I have such a romanticized relationship with television. My dad is very Nigerian. Like I grew up like very Eastern, so like everything I know about being a good father, a good friend, like part of like this society and like how we just interact, I learned from TV. I learned from Everybody Loves Raymond, King of Queens, like I Love Lucy. Like I just like I learned how to be like a person by through television. So like the idea that like I have the ability to like do that for the next generation or the current generation, like I get to go into people's homes and tell them my thoughts, like it's something that I don't I don't take lightly. So ask your question again.
When you get your own series that you created, like what's your biggest fear when you get it or before you get it?
So the thing that I'm afraid of is like I don't want to skip any steps. Like right now I'm an executive story editor, like then it's co-producer, producer, like and so but each room I get to be in, I get to watch my showrunner do things different than the last one. And I get to pull the things that I like and like build my own war chest of characteristics and strategies and tactics that I want to do. Because when it's my turn to tell my story or one of many of my stories, like I want to make sure that like it stays on the air and that people respond to it the way that I want them to. Because I've been watching the big dog, all the big dogs like that I've had like do it right or do it wrong. Like I want to take everything from every lesson. So yeah, I don't want to skip any steps. So that's like my biggest fear is that somebody will see me like, hey, we don't have enough black showrunners. So I'm going to pick you and we're just going to give you a show. That's bad. That's bad for me. That's bad for the people who are going to be looking up for me because I'm going to be the one guy who had that one failed show because I got it too early and I wasn't prepared for it. So, or I'll be the black guy who has that show that's not good, but they're keeping on the air because they don't want to fire the black. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So like, I want to make sure that when it's my turn to tell my story, that I am ready for the moment. So I'm doing the work.
Yeah, excellent. And then my last question for you is if, and this is a big if, because, I'm not a hot star, but if I ever have my own sitcom, will you be my showrunner?
Absolutely.
Excellent.
I would love to show like one of your stories. Absolutely. Yeah.
Excellent. So, I would be like, I want King Hassan. You know why?
And they'd be like, who?
Yeah, I'll be like, oh, you probably know I'm under Burger King, but
yeah,
Jesus Christ, Keith,
I want him.
He heard that joke live, so it's okay for him. He heard that joke live 6 times.
It's not okay. He's immortalizing it. Like, no, I would have never guessed. You got great jaw definition. I mean, Keith, you got to release the video. 20 years in the making. Okay, I'm gonna hit you with a DM. So I'm not that fuck. All right.
So King, the final question I have is, where can the folks at home follow and support you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really good on Twitter, but it's like a day love ADELOVE. A day is what I used to go by, was my middle name that I went by.
We'll save that for part 2.
Yes, yeah. And then on Instagram, that's where I do most of my work, but it's King Hassan _O. So
well, yeah, King, thank you so much for taking time to riff with us, and it was really good to have you laugh and really talk to you, pal. So thank you.
Yeah, this was great. Thank you guys for having me. I'd love to do this again sometime.
Anytime.
When I have more credits under my belt.
Even if you don't have credits, anytime. Right. You're my brother now.
Oh, I love
and I
that.
don't mean that because you're my black.
Right, yeah.
Jesus Christ, Keith! Oh my God! Why is Keith trying to get canceled from his own podcast?
No, I'm just saying, King, you're my boy.
You better be careful how you say that.
Go. Yeah. I love you, King.
I love you guys too.
All right, buddy. Have a great day, buddy.
Bye.
And that was the interview with King Hassan, guys. Subscribe, rate, review. And as always, he left before we could say recording has stopped. But
that was great. That was so fun.
All right. Victor, where can the folks at home follow and support you?
Go to HispanicTitanic.com, Puro Papi Pacheco on all social media. Yeah, come through. Check me out. Check out my channel on YouTube, Victor Pacheco. Whatever. Anyway, I got a bunch of great interviews, including with the great Keith Reza. He was my
you gotta ask King to do your podcast.
I'll ask King to do.
He'll do it.
I hope so. He was cool. He was very nice, very cool. And also though very forthcoming with a lot of questions because I had a lot of writing questions.
Yeah, you were great.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that, man. It was fun though. It was like I didn't know him, but it felt like I knew him.
That's what I really like about him. Is he has a very kind spirit, and I like that.
You can't fake that shit, it's just so fucking, and it's not shit, but I mean, you can't fake that type of attitude and I don't know. It was like I would have never known he was fat, but you saw his act, or you said that you saw his act, and that he was talking about being fat on stage, and so being fat on stage is just sometimes it's not believable, and with him, I'm like, dude, he's so chiseled, and it's just I can't, he has a fucking jawline. I never believe he's a fat guy.
Yeah, but between you and me, I don't think he ever was fat.
No, he was
guys.
fat.
Welcome to the show. Subscribe, rate, and review. We'll see you guys next week.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.